future Hall of Famer, the sensational 11-time world champion in 5 weight divisions. Please welcome the reigning, defending, and the undefeated WBC and WBA welterweight and super welterweight champion. Why can't there be sensors on traffic lights? They let that traffic light know that you're the only car on the road. At 3 in the morning, put a clock on it too. Just come on, get it together. January, Martin King's birthday on the way. Yeah, you know, I always wonder if MLK slipped the N-word out there every once in a while. You don't get any tape of that, you know what I'm saying? Doggone it. Sure. Especially come marching time. Wait, man. Niggas always late at the march. I told them 8 o'clock on the dot. Can't believe it. I was like, dang, you know. I imagine there's some frustrated brothers like, relax, King. Shoot, I had a march here. It's not like we all just hopping in the Hyundai, driving the, you know what I mean? A march site. We had a march to the site. Got to go around Clan Park and through, you know. Why don't y'all just get started without me? We ain't wearing Nikes either. You see those shoes? Man. Good gracious of life, man. Just much respect, dude, to the civil rights activists who did what y'all did back in the day, man. I tell you, you know. And you're gonna, when you arrive, you're gonna get an ass whooping if you're on Team King. No. Look forward to that shit. When I get there, I'm gonna get my ass whooped by some white folks. That's hard, man. It's gonna be hard to get me motivated for that. Damn, man. Oh, I'm gonna arrive late. Oh, man, shoot. I'll do the march. Ass whooping's already done. Oh, I missed it. Damn. I'll be on Team Malcolm. On Team Malcolm, dude, you warm up like this. You getting ready for the march? Yeah. Oh, Team Malcolm, son. That's the squad you see me on. I appreciate everything those brothers did today, man. I mean, y'all can't not watch the NFL. Hey, tell that brother that's in those pictures with the German Shepherd getting ready to buy him, the black, it's the famous picture we all seen. Tell him you won't not watch the NFL. Sometimes I wonder, you ever wonder how his music would be today? With the culture and everything. You know, I'll be like, you know, I'll be thinking, ladies, give me that ass. Hey, all I want to do is smash. You got the... If you're not sucking dick, you can hit the bricks today. I just received this evening from Leroy King. Big up, Leroy. There's so much I can do to you.
That's right.
That part together.
All right, we recording, man. Fast, man. I'm gonna take a shot of this Cuervo. A shot of this Cuervo. Just Omar. Fast, man. We're gonna experiment with a.
Oh, Shabo.
We're gonna experiment, man, with something called line for line, man. Just was hitting me up about it for quite some time now. We just want to see if you know how we're gonna fill it out.
Yeah. About to cook this shit.
Woo! Happy Sunday.
Yup.
It's an accomplishment to be black and alive, not starving.
Yup.
Hey, your part in Chatty Cathy, we trying to battle.
Free.
Right.
I ain't running from nobody. Ain't nobody running from me.
Come on, bro. Goodness gracious. So, first episode of Line for Line,
You want to start?
Oshabo just won Lumumba. No, Omar.
That's right. Omar Bowen, a.k.a. O Bowen, a.k.a. O Shabo, a.k.a. the best shit since sliced bread.
Alright, now, after you drop your verse, we're gonna go into a little Q&A on the bar.
Alright.
Alright.
So,
You ready?
y'all just let me know when we queued up and ready.
Go ahead.
Oh, okay. Hold on, let me put this weed down real quick.
Okay.
Slide this off to the side,
I
finish
feel
that
you.
up when we finish.
Sure. Go ahead. Get ready. You
So-
still.
So, Lumumba, what are you doing, bro?
My bad.
I said, I still spit like I'm in high school. Never worried about if I might lose. Cut a nigga ass like class. Break them like rules. The only difference now is I write jewels and I got a fetish for a fat ass, pretty feet and a nice shoe. I only deal with sisters. Won't be no uptight boo unless she rich and I'm dead broke and the lights do. The good die young, so fuck a nice dude. Pardon my French, but if you never seen a tower, get an eyeful. Traveling without my disciples into the mic booth, unraveling the scalp of my rivals, just to be spiteful. Being starving for a few lines, I give them my haiku. The deaf and dumb open they blinds and I push the light through. Some of y'all like to be lied to, but I like truth. In the hood, a simple ride through is so insightful. That's where a brother learned how to hustle and how to fight too, and how to lay low and stay on my toes like shoes. Can't treat a stray like your own dog, they'll bite you, and that seemingly meaningless phone call will indict you. Now you stuck in a cage, studying pages of the Bible or the Quran, touching your palms, praying for survival. Swearing to the Most High you won't repeat the cycle if he let you out before a nigga slice you. I used to have dreams of being in the ring, fighting for the title, singing Billie Jean, wishing the floor light up like I'm Michael. Pop was a fiend, so the king of pop was my idol till I was a teen. And I seen the cops pull a rifle. The block was my night school. The rocks kept my Nikes new. 8 balls kept that green on the table like pool. Seen a choir boy turn bishop off the right juice. The youth ain't got a choice. They either crippin' or they pyro. Addicted to McDonald's and that liquor in the bottle. Take a sip and then they swallowed and their mission is to rob you. Sisters even tripping. Stripping for any guy who throw them a couple dollars and slide through in a nice coupe. While I'm catching the breeze, spreading my wings like truth. Stomping to the beat of my own drum like I'm tribal. Liable to incite a riot, that's what I might do. Overthrow the throne, throwing stones like I'm in Kabul. Mind you, I've been sick of these pigs. Swine flu, never blind to the shit that they did. Forever mindful. My relevance to hip-hop is equivalent to vinyl, and my intelligence is why them devils fear me as primal, nigga. Yeah.
That's fire, man.
Listen. Hey, listen. Do it again, like immediately. Go ahead. Run that one through again. Go ahead.
I still spit like I'm in high school. Never worried about if I might lose. Cut a nigga ass like class, break 'em like rules. The only difference now is I write jewels and I got a fetish for a fat ass, pretty feet and a nice shoe. Only deal with sisters, won't be no other type boo unless she rich and I'm dead broke and the lights do. The good die young, so fuck a nice dude. Pardon my French, but if you never seen a tower get an eyeful, traveling without my disciples into the mic booth, unraveling the scalp of my rivals just to be spiteful. Being starving for a few lines, I give them a haiku. The deaf and dumb open their blinds and I push the light through. Some of y'all like to be lied to, but I like truth. In the hood, a simple ride through is so insightful. That's where brother learned how to hustle and how to fight too, and how to lay low and stay on my toes like shoes. Can't treat a stray like your own dog, he'll bite you, and that seemingly meaningless phone call will indict you. Now you stuck in a cage studying pages of the Bible or the Quran, touching your palms, praying for survival. Swearing to your most high you won't repeat the cycle if it lets you out before a nigga slice you. I used to have dreams of being in the ring, fighting for the title, singing Billie Jean, wishing the floor light up like a Michael. Pop was a fiend, so the king of pop was my idol till I was a teen. And I seen the cops pull a rifle. The block was my night school. The rocks kept my Nikes new. 8 balls kept that green on the table like pool. Seen a choir boy turn bishop off the right juice. The youth ain't got a choice. They either crippin' or they pyro. Addicted to McDonald's and that liquor in the bottle. Take a sip and then they swallow. Then their mission is to rob you. Sisters even tripping. Stripping for any guy who throw her a couple dollars and slide through in a nice coupe while I'm catching a breeze. Spreading my wings like truth. Stomping to the beat of my own drum like I'm tribal. Liable to incite a riot, that's what I might do. Overthrow the throne, throwing stones like I'm in Kabul. Mind you, I've been sick of these pigs. Swine flu, never blind to the shit that they did. Forever mindful. My relevance to hip-hop is equivalent to vinyl, and my intelligence is why them devils fear of me as primal. Nigga. There you go.
Alright, and cuz.
Yes, sir,
Yo,
Omar. You know what I'm saying?
this is
That's what I'm talking about, son.
so yo,
Yes,
listen,
sir. Appreciate y'all.
this is the breakdown, cuz.
What
I picked up.
let me ask him, Judge. Where were you? Like, what year was that? Like, what mind state were you? You know, were you always like to, you know, compare just like creative styles? You know, like, do you write on paper? Does things come to you while you cutting the grass or in the shower? Where were you during that time? Because I know with every line and every bar you start to spit, it probably puts you in a place, you know, and then overall that mosaic of all of that was a year or a couple of years, a time in your life. Where were you doing that?
Alright, so I wrote that joint. Wasn't on paper. I wrote it in my head driving to work.
The whole joint?
That was in, yeah.
Just.
That was,
Just. Hey. Just. You know, you a Pop Tart ass motherfucker, but he said on the way to work, he let that one loose on the way to.
so that shit was
Yeah, like I said,
2011.
that's my family's bloodline.
Yeah, that's in the DNA right there. Like we family. Like that's my blood cousin.
So
This
now,
is that
there's
talk.
no
I knew
saying,
it. You
it's
know
the
what I
same
mean?
genetics.
Yeah,
Woo!
exactly. This ain't just that talk. Like, oh, I knew this nigga since forever. That's my brother. That's my
Right.
Nah, that's my cousin for real.
Right.
You know what I mean? So yeah, Just One actually inspired me to do what I do.
No
Like
doubt.
that was one of my very first, I guess you could say, like idols, like persons, people that I looked up to in terms of
Yes.
hip hop, just in life in general. That was my very first spiritual enlightenment. That was the first brother that ever taught me anything about the Moors,
Yes.
the Kundalini energy, all
Yes.
that. You know what I mean? So
Yes.
just planted that seed. You know what I
Yes.
mean? So
Outstanding. Hey, and thank you. And just know what I'm talking about. You're welcome, Just.
Hey, cuz.
you.
I'm honored.
You're
That's
welcome,
my brother,
Just.
man.
You're welcome,
already know,
Just.
man. We talk about this shit all the time. Like me and him had these conversations all the time. You know what I mean? So,
Outstanding. So, did
yeah,
something
that
particular?
verse.
Did something particular happen to you in your life that inspired that on the way to work? Or that was just something that just came off the top? You know.
So when I actually started writing it, the first few lines, I still spit like I'm in high school.
Mm-hmm.
That shit, it was the beat
Oh, Jill Scott.
Crazy. It was on the album The Light of the Sun.
Mm-hmm.
The song that she did with Dougie Fresh beatboxing. I wrote it to Dougie Fresh beatboxing.
Okay.
So yeah, that's what pulled them first few lines out. The beat just grabbed me, and that was like the first shit that came to mind.
Okay.
As I'm going through it though, as we progressing through the verse, it was just different life experiences. Like me touching on the I only deal with sisters, won't be no other type boo. Like I watched when I was a child, before my mom's passed away, while she was still in the rehab, she was dating this white boy, this Italian cat.
Mm-hmm.
And their relationship wasn't the best. You know, it might have been because they both was going through their own way of recovery or whatever. But anyway, it wasn't the best. It wasn't a pleasant sight. You know what I mean? It wasn't something to aspire to. So then, after she passed away, about a year later, my grandmother had been dating this white dude, and she was sitting on the bed. My grandmother was sitting on the bed looking at a photo album, looking through a photo album. She came across some pictures of my mother, and she started tearing up.
Mm-hmm.
This white boy said to her, "Well, damn, how long you gonna be grieving over your daughter?" That shit just left a real bad taste in my mouth. And watching my grandmother actually go in the kitchen to grab a knife and swing this knife at this dude, just really, you know what I mean, it put me in a negative space. But even still, going forward.
How old were you at that time?
At that time, I was 9 when my mother passed, so I had to be about 10, maybe going on 11, somewhere around there.
Right. That's right when you start paying attention to shit. You know what I mean? Right around 10 is when you start really paying attention to shit.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So then going forward with my own personal experience, even after all that, I'm one of the jobs I was working at, there was this Italian chick that used to come in there all the time, and she was shooting her shot heavy. I kept shooting her down for like 2-3 months straight.
Right.
There's one I used to smoke cigarettes. So there's one particular day I'm standing outside smoking cigarettes. She pull up, she walk up, she like, you know that's bad for your health. Da 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 da. Me and my sarcastic ass, I'm like, yeah, you don't mind that other people business bad for your health too. So we both laughed at it. Da 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 da. Then she was just like, you know, she basically was like, just straight up, like, yo, why you always shooting me down? Why you don't never give me the time of day? You know, I'm like, well, look, my personal, I'm like, personal preference. I'm like, to be completely honest with you, I just prefer to not date outside my race. So, you know, she was like, well, that's very shallow, this, that, and the third. So because of her persistence, I took her number.
Mm-hmm.
We talked on the phone a few times. I ended up smashing a few times. So this one night, we sitting in her car talking one night. She explaining something to me, but it wasn't clicking for me. So her way of trying to get me to see what she was saying was by saying to me, I mean, you know, like when you chilling with your niggas. Of course, the Scooby-Doo came out. So, right. She like, you know, she trying to explain it away. Like, nah, you know, I wasn't saying it as anything derogatory towards you and your friends.
Right.
You know, and I'm like, but you can't say that word to me now. The flip side to that was she was married to a brother.
Right.
Who was locked up at the time. So anyway.
So she thinks she's indoctrinated into, you know, she got this card, like this pass.
Right. Right. So when I say to her, when she, you know, hit me with the, well, I wasn't saying there's anything derogatory towards you and your friends, I'm like, but you can't say that shit around me, period. And she followed it up with, well, but, you know, my husband doesn't mind. And immediately I was like, well, I'm not your fucking husband. And I was like, matter of fact, you know what? And I just got out the car, and that was the last time I ever spoke to her.
And not to interrupt. Please remember where you are. But I wanted to get into what gives some white folks the pass, because we all know white brothers, and I call them white brothers that have the pass. What is that? What gives some white brothers the pass and others not? How do you?
All right. So for me, at this stage, at 44, about to be 45,
right.
stage of my life,
right.
That word don't hold that power over me no more. So to answer that question, as far as what gives them the pass, I guess that depends on who they actually interacting with and who is in their immediate circle to make them feel comfortable
Yeah.
with using that word. Because depending on who you ask,
Yeah.
they don't get a pass.
Yeah.
I mean, so, but for me, like I said, it came to me.
You gotta have some background. I gotta have some background on you. You can't just come in, even though you might have this background that has given you the pass. I have to know that background. You know what I'm saying? You just can't come to me and expect me to somehow know your history. You know, you're gonna have to, indigenous. You know, you're gonna have to, I have to know somehow. I have to get to know that that.
Like who you tapped into.
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, like for me at this point, like I was saying, at this point in my life, I don't give a fuck who say that.
Right.
I had a power. Like it just came down to me taking my power back.
I hear you.
Because if I look at it, I started looking at the shit through a different lens, and
I
I'm
hear
like,
you.
well, damn, if every time a person of a different skin color use that word,
I get it.
I allow it to inflame me, then that means that person has the power to control me.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? So it got to a point for me where I'm like, let me take my power back, because that word, just like any other word that we use that may be deemed as derogatory or negative towards one group of people, I don't give a fuck if it's nigga, if it's hiney,
Right. Faggot or whatever the hell it is. Right.
Right. The word only has the power that person or that group of people give it. So if we react to it every time it's said, then that means we allowing another person or another group of people to control our action.
Right.
And that's been our downfall since for a long time. I ain't gonna say since the very beginning, but for a long time, that's been a big downfall of people of melanated people. You understand?
Yeah.
So me taking my power back was to relinquish the power that word had over me. So I let the shit go. I really don't give a fuck. As long as you're not within my personal space and I don't feel like you trying to do me some bodily harm, you can say whatever you want to say.
Yeah.
But, that 6 feet, that 3 feet barrier, you come within that range.
Right. That's what I was thinking. Like there's like an octopus 8 arm, like my tentacles. As long as you aren't affecting my personal range, you know what I'm saying? You know, that's fine. You know what I'm saying? Like it's more of an identifier. You know, I can't say it doesn't affect my disposition, because if I hear you use it in the wrong context, it does, and I'm on, and then my radar is on you, and I'm on you. You know what I'm saying? So you know, it will always affect my disposition depending on the context of how it's used. You know, and as black folks, we know the context. You can't fool us.
Right.
You know, you can't fool us.
Now, and even in regards to that, I just watched a clip of. Well, actually, I saw most of it, but this particular clip was one of DMX's last few interviews. He was on Drink Champs, and he was pointing out, and he made a great point, because the brother was like, it takes too much energy to not trust people.
Right.
He said, but you also got to trust yourself to trust them for who they are. You trust a snake to be a snake. You trust a thief to steal from you. You trust a snake to bite you. You trust a thief to steal from you.
Me and Jess talk about that all the time, don't we, Jess? We talk about that all the time. People for who they are. That's that's right.
You know, and it's just that for me at this point when it comes to external forces, because we give so much of our power up to these external forces, and then we wonder why we walking around and can't make no progress, because we're giving everything to everything outside of self.
Right.
And I just put that joint. Just to tell you that one of the last joints I recorded, that was a part of my hook. Like, you know what I mean? Like, the hardest thing for most people to do is to face they self. And that's a fact.
Yeah, no doubt.
I mean? So, you know, it's that part for me. It's like, yo, let's deal with self.
Yeah.
Once you tap into you, nothing outside of you has the power to control you anymore. Because you, along with tapping in, you also know that at that point you taking responsibility for self. So it ain't no more room to be playing the blame game. Oh, this white boy said this, or my pops wasn't around, or my mom got killed, and all that other shit. Like, all that shit is just it's an excuse.
Right.
As a child, that shit may impact your life or whatever, but as an adult, you're making a choice to still hold on to that shit.
Yeah.
So, you know, at
Yeah.
this stage, for me, like I said, it's just a matter of taking my power back, not letting nobody have that over me. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So, yeah, in terms of that particular point, that particular part in that particular verse, yeah, that's where that inspiration came from specifically, as far as that part of the
For
verse.
sure, and to tack on it, once you get over the ego of, because people don't
Exact
want
that
human terrestrial natives anyway, don't they? Everyone wants to think they were born perfect. So once you can get over the
right,
ego of looking in the mirror and correcting self, it's really easy because once you
right,
realize that, hey, I'm just an entity here and I'm trying to learn and get my way through. There's no embarrassment and no shame of not
right,
knowing.
exactly,
It's okay not to know. Whatever you don't know, learn it, and then
right,
I like to say that I appreciate not knowing something or finding out that I'm wrong about something, so that I'm not
right,
wrong about it anymore. You know. So
exactly,
yeah.
exactly,
Yeah, for sure, man. For sure, man.
yep,
Get over that ego, man. That's a hard thing to get over, the ego. But it's such a tacky thing, man. It's ticky tacky. Know that you're just a vessel collecting information, and it's okay not to know and to learn stuff, and move on from there.
exactly,
Yeah, bro. I
yep,
feel you.
that's
Heck
a
yeah.
fact.
Outstanding. Just, it's your turn, man. Spit some rhymes.
So I got
Let's
a
go,
question.
cousin.
I got a question for cuz
Oh, okay.
since this been line for line, and the gist of it is to kind of like get people to appreciate the mind of the writer. And what I noticed in that rhyme is your experience, and you turn your pains and emotions into the craft,
Mhm.
and you kind of like expounded upon your evolution as a man in this world, black man in this world, and the struggles. And I want people to appreciate the brilliance in the writing. Like for instance, I know you said in one part of the rhyme you say fiends looking for lines, so I serve them haikus. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
You and
Fiend
I
striving
both
for
know
a
what
few lines.
haikus
I give
are.
him a haiku. Yeah.
Right. You and I both know what they are. Explain what haikus are and explain how they're used in that part of the rhyme so the listeners who don't really know the gravity of
In layman's terms, it's basically just a very short poem. It can be a stanza. It can be 2, 3 lines. You understand what I'm saying? So it's a very short version, if you want to call it a version, because the haiku can be an actual poem in itself. But it's a very shortened version. Like I said, it can be an entire poem with 5 words because it's the writer's choice of expression in that moment. You know what I mean? So
right.
again,
Isn't it?
so
If I'm maybe I'm mistaken. Isn't it like 13 something or like a number like 11 or isn't there a number of words that can be in it?
words or I think I
Well,
believe it may be. Go ahead, Justin.
it's actually a poem that has
I want to say
uh,
13, but maybe it's 11 or 12.
it's actually a poem that has odd number of points, and they can be very short. You know, it's within that ramification of 12 to 13, and it can be short. And another secret to structure of haikus is that most of the rhyme points or the hit points is abstract versus me saying me and Lumumba in the hat and the cat. I would say me and Lumumba went to the store, then the cat in the hat, and then I got much more. It's a haiku form, or we can say something
Mm-hmm.
arrangement.
That,
Yeah.
now that yeah, that's a good
There's that
example.
haiku shit. It's some abstract. It's some phantom punch shit, poetic wise.
Right.
Right,
But yeah,
right.
yeah.
So yeah, and
It's
that's that. And
go
then
ahead.
as far as incorporate the next part of the question was what was the next part of that? What is a haiku and what was the next
Man,
part of that question?
the next part was since you know, I'll get you to describe haiku, how it was being used in that part
Oh,
of the
in that,
rhyme.
yeah, because I mean, at that point of me writing, the rhyme scheme of
Right.
it was all, because if you think about it, and another part that I even want to make sure everybody noticed as far as that particular rhyme, the entire rhyme used the same sound scheme. Ah ooh, ah ooh, ah ooh. I still spit like I'm in high school. Never worried about if I might lose. So every rhyme, every line in that verse from beginning to end used that same
Right.
Haiku
that
principle.
same right. So
Right.
me using it in that particular moment was just
Proving
it just
itself.
came to mind. Fiends starving for a few lines because I used to sell coke. I used to sell drugs. I used to be on the block.
Right.
I used to sell them niggas them lines. You
Right.
understand what I'm saying? So fiends starving for a few lines, I give them my haiku. The deaf and dumb open it. You know the old phrase that the 5%ers used to use. The deaf,
Right.
dumb, and blind. So I studied the lesson. So I just took
Right.
that and twisted that up, made it into my own creativity.
Right.
Deaf and dumb open their blinds, and I pushed the light through. You understand what I'm saying?
Right. I do.
A simple common man. Well, there's no dope things to catch, and if there's no schemes to hatch, well, there'll be no strings attached. So carry on, carry on. Henceforth, the presentation of all the lowly blokes commonly known throughout the nation. A simple common man. Well, there's no dope things to catch, and if there's no schemes to hatch, well, there'll be no strings attached. So carry on, carry on. Henceforth, the presentation of all the lowly blokes commonly known throughout the nation. An abominable flow man, so move slowly, those who don't know me. Welcome to the ceremony. Well, in door one, well, that's for personnel only. Behind door two, those niggas, they handle street shit for me. And behind door three, well, that's a whole different story. A separate category, well, of course, but truth is mandatory. It's the champion animal. I blessed the laboratory, something scandalous. I told them, send me the bill. What's the damage? I'm afraid I'll need full recognition for holding this position. Yes, perhaps it turns into an exhibition. I'm picking them up, dusting them off, laying them back down. Used to happen every night of the week. Hope that it slacks down. Rubbish, bubbles to the forefront, out of the bag. Hunting them down, I'm half bloodhound, half son of Sam. You wanna dance? I can help you do the running man. That would give me happier days than Richie Candy. A simple common man. Well, there's no dope things to hatch, and if there's no schemes to hatch, there'll be no strings attached. Carry on, carry on. Henceforth, the presentation of all the lonely blokes commonly known throughout the nation. A simple common man. Well, there's no dope things to hatch, and if there's no schemes to hatch, there'll be no strings attached. Carry on, carry on. Henceforth, the presentation of all the lonely blokes commonly known throughout the nation. Well, the basic expectation is to meet the criteria without smoking up your hybrid brand. Sent from Siberia. Non-fictional radio. Beyond considered highly medicinal. With all the vitamins and minerals. Well, about as serious as a boss can get. So, paying attention won't cost you shit. It's true, I get silly off of drinks and blood. But then, I eat pussies like you for lunch. Go right ahead and wipe my mouth like I'm having a anus. Then hit you with 15, cause you want to be famous. And if you need a funeral plan, of course I'll make the arrangements. I'm quite
Stuff looks so good. I'm gonna start coming here for real, yo. This is a
Practically
Jacksonville.
have to be on the backpack satchel. Reaction, my inner cheek, audio analytical chemistry. That fruit smoothie, favorite movie, gripping your boost booty. Or fresh linen with a harem, incomparable women that reconnect with the cosmos. Pure particle sprinkles of lethal God ghosts. As I bow before my father's feet, clear to hear my mother's voice. Celebration, pop the cork, Papa pulling on the port, then yet another teleport. Like warm brandy, pecan sandies, or honey milk. It's palate pleasure, but spitting off my coochie eaters. Visions of winning written, bumping through acoustic speakers. Manifestation, rude nation. Laugh in the face of Satan, look him eye to eye, what's baking? Turn the heat up, nah, turn the beat up. Mess around and get beat up. But what in your luck make you think you can beat us? Never, we too clever.
Style return to take over the game, and we burn the competition down to the ground. We're so fly, epitome of class and style.
Blast like a fofo, original mold breaker, so please no photos. That would have seemed to anything that you assuming. You think it's easy that'll make me a human. I make maneuvers, my pseudonym be losing them. Think you can see the name? Let me see you do it then. James Don, the double O, heaven slap box for politics, headlock while you're rapping. Quiet, riot, push that rally through with a veto flow that is snake, they rally home. Political sanctions for the ass I be staking. Must that I bust on that Putain stinking. Wu-Tang banging at the back of the Kia. Rap game soft is true where mama's tutor.
This place didn't charge me last time I was here, and then they didn't charge me again today. So I just want to give them some props, dude. Some good folks. That's why I came back last time.
Well, it's your soul brother greatness. Hit a spar with ya, spit a howitzer, or through your bar, Mister J-U-S-T to the O-N-E. Seventh the tango web the light. Well, it's me. It's open season at the high table. The contract is priceless. No contracts, it's just agreements with the righteous. Impervious poetry with a poisonous pen. A sound ordinance breaking the noise again. Bang, bang, game change. But I start rapping 21 gallons to loot. This is encore clapping at the frivolous property. With strange food top of me. They call me just one. No second chance stopping me. Fire from the balcony. We don't write rhymes like you. Spit it hardcore. You soft as boy George Michael. Cause and effect. We tsunami from the ripple. You cop funeral pot, 16 shots from my nickels. Just easy money. Ain't a damn thing funny. It's easy money. Claiming my milk and honey. It's easy money. It ain't a damn thing funny. It's easy money. Yeah. Yo, I'm in your pocket like your lucky rabbit's foot. Multiply my habits, but rabbits the average strokes. It's just easy money like the king of the bank side. Babyface assassin, it's not what you think. I surprised the type to put sugar on shit. Without the pot to piss it, it's hard to own shit. It sucks when indebted to the devils that robbed you. Taxing your dominion, say you're deaf in the drive-thru. But I fly through my ninjas, even while I'm walking. Loud pack motherfucker, hit the silence all the token. Whoa, don't try to get it, cause they just been got. Fully loaded popcorn, I got them infamous shots. I'm pressing your nirvana. They jacking off your prana. Pedophiles get pardoned by judges with no honor. While dildo rappers look for something to ride on. I'm gamma radiated, crossing Georgia guys' nose. It's just, it's easy money. Ain't a damn thing funny. Claiming my milk and honey.
see.